You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 104 for July 2023. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm good enough. It sounds like it's going to be stormy on your end. This is the fastest we've ever jumped into. Hi, how you doing? We haven't talked in a month. Let's go and start a recording.
Yeah, because there's a big chance that there's going to be a very big thunderstorm rolling in about 45 minutes. So hopefully you can already hear it in the background. So
I used to, I had a very quick story. I had a problem where, so I got a laptop at some point. Got a newer laptop at some point, 2017. So let's just give you a state of time, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So I bought a dock with it, which was MF expensive, right? Very expensive. This little box with a Thunderbolt cable coming out the side of it. And it did two things. It obviously provided all the connectivity, extra connectivity out of the laptop that it needed. And it also gave it enough power to make the laptop happy, right? And this is a power-hungry laptop. Again, very old, but it had a 1050 in it, RTX 1050. So it liked to have 180 watts across it, which, USB-C doesn't support, right? But somehow, Dell made some kind of special thing on this. Anyhow, so when power outages, even if they were brief, came along, this dock would fry. And at some point, I got dependent on liking this thing, so I bought another one at a cost of $250.
why?
And
Why?
Eventually, the first one got covered on warranty, and so Dell made good on that, and they sent the thing within like 2 days, and I had a second one. So I brought it down to the recording studio, so I had two. But then again, power outage would happen briefly, like while I was at work, and another one of these things would fry. And so the thing came down in price of another $200. And so at some point, fast forwarding into over a course of a number of years, I had a stack of these things, which really irritated me. So I ended up buying like APC or UPS battery. And I'm like, why didn't I just spend this? But this is cheaper than spending $200 a pop, right? Over the course of every few months of this big
Maybe it's
problem.
just a really bad dock.
Well, it worked great up into but the irony is the big power brick that was 240 watts never died. I had a stack of those. So those are great, but to the point that I would end up. So my sort of solution was, I finally realized after a third or fourth of these things that I was just like, why don't I just buy a UPS? And that way, when the power goes out, nothing gets interrupted. And of course, I did that. And then that resulted over the course of time of me having three of these things, because I got wise and I bought a second one and I chained it. And then I took another one downstairs to the studio. And so when I moved here, I had three of these. And so I have a dual chained one here for all this equipment and stuff here right now. And then I took the third one finally and I put it down to my telecommunications closet so I can, at least the networking and the FiOS can stay online if the power goes out. So I'm now sort of covered a little bit for a brief moment to shut things down if I need it, with respect to these things. I don't know how much this sort of setup draws, though, because I think the monitors are also on the UPS as well, which, that makes your 45 minutes go down to like 5. But
5 is enough to get everything shut down.
Yeah. At the very least, I have one of these big honking ones. These are, I think they're like 1,500 kilowatt or something easily on each of these. So
1,500 kilowatt? So 1.5 megawatt?
No.
Okay.
1,500 watts.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 1.5 kilowatt. What did I say, 1,500? Yeah. My brain was... I haven't...
1,500 kilowatt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, that's a
that
power
must
wall.
have quite a fan in it.
That's a power wall. Or it's a mega rack. So, yeah. Or a mega pack. Actually, is technically what it is.
Okay. Well, I just got back from Germany.
Yeah.
Went
And
to a anime convention last weekend.
yeah. So, all right, let's talk about this. Out of anime conventions, how many was this? Like this? What, less than one hand count? Like 3, 4, 5?
Does Dutch Comic Con count?
Um, I mean, yeah. It's sadly, even there's a bunch of anime cons that are basically just comic cons with a
Yeah, I went to
glorified.
2 of those, and then this one.
Okay, so 3. So
Maybe I've been to another one. I just don't remember.
yeah,
Wasn't very impressive, those other 2.
I will
Other
say
3.
a lot of these conventions came about, and like I appreciate that they're look, when they're nonprofit and they're there for the purpose, great. When they're there to profiteer, not so great.
Yeah, the Dutch Comic Con was like 99% just, sellers. It's
Mm-hmm.
just sellers.
Yeah,
Nothing interesting at all.
whatever the comic cons are in Philly, that's basically what they are. They're dealer cons.
Yeah.
And they used to be. There was no facade to try to represent it as something else. In Philly, I went to a Comic Con with Dan one time. He dragged me to it, and so I went, and it was just a $80 admissions for one day, and it was a big dealers Comic Con with a couple side rooms happening with like some celebrities from like Babylon and Battlestar Galactica, which was just like just off air at that point. And it's just like, yeah, exactly. You said wow, and I was just like, yeah, that's a whole lot of money for what? So I can spend more money? That just seems sort of,
Yeah, that seems like a bad place to be.
yeah, it sounds like I'm getting fleeced.
You were, yes.
Yeah. So I don't really read comics. So, and if I did, I probably would have a local comic store or 1 or 2 or 5 of them, and would get me everything I need. And why would I go to a big old $80 for a single day, comic convention? Why would I do that?
So I think the tickets for Dokomi, which is the convention I went to in Germany, which is in Dusseldorf. I think the admission is like $80 for 3 days. €80 for
Right.
3 days.
And Otakon's very similar to that, right? It's you get yourself covered within one fee that other places would charge as a single day. Also, when you go to like a comic convention, I guess that's the goal, right? People come in, they're not there going to be for 3 days of buying. They're going to come in one day, get all the stuff that they want, and then leave, right? So I guess that's why they hit that $80 mark or the $60 mark or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But anyhow, my point is that it used to be that these conventions did nothing but what they advertised, right? They're a comic convention. And now they all want to be in the business of everything else, and that makes them make more money, even if they're very bad at providing other forms of entertainment. I will say anime conventions provide all the entertainment plus dealers' rooms, right? And the dealers'
Yeah. So
rooms
this one
are
was
not,
like,
yeah,
for this one there was like, I think there was like 5 halls, and there's like big places.
right, yeah.
I don't know if you, but like it was called the Messe. Was called the convention center.
Okay.
It's right next to the airport, so it's pretty reachable. And there was a lot of there was one big artist alley room, which is like a giant hall. I think there must have been like there were I think there were like 20 rows of artists on that side, just there. And then there was the 18 plus artist alley, which was a little bit smaller, of course, much smaller actually, but like still pretty full. And that was like hall 3 was basically artist alley, just one hall completely for artist alley. That was really good.
Um, the convention center that Otakon is running out of right now, and will be in a couple weeks for me, is, I don't know what it's going to be in meters. You're going to have to pull out your calculation on this, but 6.3 million square feet in volume. And I think that's just footprint. That's not, including actual, like. I mean, it's pretty big. It's big enough that it spawns across a road, and it's sort of part of its second floor is it's sort of a mezzanine third floor or
It's
whatever
about
it is.
334,000 square meters.
Yeah. So I mean, pretty big facility. And we, I don't know what we did. All the stats are up on Otakon's website, so like anyone really wants to check the vitals on the stats. But I think we're averaging like 30,000 something, maybe even higher than that. And if you're accounting for like just pre-reg, I know we're somewhere over 25,000 or something like that right now. And there's definitely going to be people who walk in at door. So
They walk in at what?
there'll be people who what we call walk-ins, which is they come in
Okay.
for a day. They come in just to go to the dealer's room in Artist Alley, and they might do that on a Sunday, which is obviously going to be a lesser. I think I'd have to check. So I haven't been a paying member in such a long time, so I haven't had. Well, I do pay. I just as staff, you sort of pay internally, so I don't have to. Renew my membership in the same manner. So I'm not really as familiar with the daily rates, but I think we only do Friday and Saturday. I don't think we do. I don't know that we might. I don't know if we do a Sunday sale or not.
Yeah, I think Dokomi was a little bit smaller,
Right.
but yeah, it was still.
And don't get me wrong, Otakon is not the biggest in the U.S. and certainly not on the East Coast. Again, I was sort of ranting my commentary about how these Comic Cons are becoming like anime conventions, right? Anime conventions were definitely different when they started, and then they added some aspects of these other conventions, which then created more focused, non-professional conventions like PAX, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the elements that existed in things like Otakon increased interest for things like PAX to exist, right? And Gen Con, for example, I don't know how much distortion it's had, but that's mostly, at least as I understood it, used to be just mostly board games, tabletop gaming. So I don't know if they've added a whole bunch of video game, tracks and programming.
But it was pretty big for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like first time to one of these types of conventions, and it was like, I think I only saw the convention. I only saw the Artist Alley.
Right, because you were.
That's what that came down to.
You were there at your friend's booth.
Yeah, I was helping out. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never done that. I've known a couple people that did stuff in Artist Alley. My friend who was an AMV creator, he just has like a side business, right? Because he was going to conventions, and he's like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna start a business and a website. I don't think it's running anymore. Where he just made T-shirts, or he did. He found somebody who at the time it was hot, but she painted My Little Ponies, like, and made them sort of like extra special, or whatever, or made them sort of anime-esque for characters and stuff like that. So he sold that stuff. And he made a pretty good amount of money. He could come in, pay for all his costs of being there, hotel room, plus everything else, and come away with several $1,000s just doing that. And he would go through surplus of stuff that, he might not be selling throughout the year. It's a grind to do it.
Yeah. How much does a booth in Artist Alley cost in Otakon?
I have no idea. I'm so far removed from that. You'd have to go. I mean, at this point, it's going to be closed, but you could probably go look at the documentation if you wanted to become like a vendor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. I have no guess. It's a lot less than in the dealer's room. Dealer's room is packed usually. There's usually no room left in the dealer's room. But Artist Alley will be way more affordable, where you see a lot of like college kids or, independent artists running stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know what. There's no prices on the Otakon website so far as I
Oh,
can
probably
see.
because it's closed at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't be sort of last second coming in. They plan for everything.
The ones at Dokomi were not that expensive. Like they were not that expensive to me. Like I
Right.
would say, okay, that's very affordable.
Mm-hmm.
But like
Also,
for somebody who's like living from commission to commission, that must seem like super expensive.
mm-hmm. Um, look, I mean, uh, I recognize people like make junk jewelry, or it's a hobby for them, and then they're a local, or they're going because their significant other is getting a hotel room to go attend the con, and so they just they go and they become an Artist Alley sort of vendor, and they sell their hobby jewelry, and then that eventually they get better over time, and that turns into a side business, and then they can quit their day job. And I've seen artists do that. Um, I know one person, um, and his girlfriend does just that. Now I've never seen what her jewelry is, but she sells this stuff, and so she'll go to conventions, and she'll again in profit, just for that one weekend, will make beyond rent plus half her month, and if she does this once every couple of weekends, you can do a pretty good job doing that, especially if you give yourself an online presence,
Yeah.
right? You can turn yourself into a private business that is isolated from the impacts of the world. And yeah, I mean, I've seen people do that. That being said, people sometimes just print their own shirts with their funny ideas, or from their webcomic, or you name it.
Yeah, I brought some books to
To sell.
to
Yeah.
sell, and they went so fast. It's just
Um,
insane. I
I
have
don't
no idea
know.
how.
I don't know. My friend has a web comic. Again, I don't talk to him recently. I've not seen him at a con in a long time. Um, but he's an individual that gets invited, or used to. I don't know. I haven't really been on the current track. Um, would get invited as like guest of honor to these conventions, and I don't know if he set up. He always would have a booth for his merchandise, but I don't know if it would always be in the dealer's room or in the Artist Alley. I want to say probably the dealer's room, because there's usually big venues. But either case, I was watching a vlog from 2007, and I'm walking by, and I was like, "Oh, here's his line," and then I just walked for like, quarter of a mile, and that was on a Sunday. Him doing autographs and selling merch. So, big artists can do well. Yeah.
Yeah, but even like the smaller ones, if you look like the conventions, they really sell quite a lot of merchandise. So like
Mm-hmm.
from prints to like books and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there were people there with like that made like 3D printed horns, and there were people making like cosplay horns and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, the whole 3D printed stuff. I never
Yeah.
considered that. I haven't been into. I usually am busy enough that I don't really make. I barely ever go down into the dealer's room or Artist Alley.
Hmm.
At Otakon, I just sort of don't get there. And more importantly, at this point in time in life, there's really nothing that those things have that I'm going to be seeking. You know.
Hmm.
Maybe an Artist Alley, like if I'm looking for something, a unique gem. Um, I never, by the time I show up, all the unique gems are gone. And what I mean by that is Bryce is like the king of this. He goes down to the artist alley and he finds something extraordinary. And there's only like one of them. Or there's like,
Yeah,
that
that's
weekend.
what I noticed. Like a lot of people had like prints, but the ones that they that went so fast, they didn't have that many of.
Hmm.
So they were like, oh, too
The
bad.
one time Bryce went down and
Like
he came
what I
back with
would
this.
do.
He came back with this shirt. And this shirt was just a samurai holding up its sword and a lawnmower. And it was like showing that it was having a stance off, like, gonna be attacking a lawnmower. And there was some funny quote about it. And it's the funniest looking thing. And I'm like, oh, that's a great t shirt. I want to. And of course, the artist made the one, made probably a dozen of them or something. That's all they could afford. And then, they sold them out. Um, and they were gone. Basically,
Yeah.
when artists are gone, they when they sold all their stuff out, they just empty out their booth and leave early. So
Yeah, we didn't have anybody leave early though.
yeah,
I don't think so. There was one person that had their money box stolen, not
yeah, okay,
in the
things
section
like
I
that
was in,
happen.
but
Yeah.
like there were some people that reported that they got drugged by um, uh, somebody was pretending to be staff and giving out lollipops or like ice cream, but like water ice. And yeah, that was a bit weird. I started
Hmm.
seeing like tweets about it. This was also during the time that Mr. Musk decided to pull the plug on reading more than 600 tweets a
Oh
day.
yeah, the rate limits. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, which is insane on its own. But
Yeah.
so yeah, it was pretty good. Um, the thing that if I were to next year or like whenever I can get the booth, if I want to do it, I could do it, and I'm like, maybe I should, but I would have to set up a whole booth thing and make it official and stuff. And like right now,
Hmm.
I just
I
just
mean, you could still do it with your friend, right?
yeah, but like I would like to make my own booth, you know.
Well, I mean, at that point, then you're gonna need some backdrops. You're gonna need some large
Yeah,
print
yeah, but I
things.
would
Yeah.
I would collaborate with people
Right.
to to get the booth up and running, but
Oh,
I wouldn't.
maybe all your artists from your book, maybe collectively.
That could be a good idea,
Yeah.
maybe. But yeah, it was pretty good. There was it was super busy. Like the first day on Friday, it started at 1, and we had the morning to set up. We arrived the day before, but uh, okay, thunderstorm.
Yeah, I could hear it. Well, keep
So
going though.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know
and
what?
and
Keep
suddenly
that.
there was nothing left.
Yeah, no, keep this in the recording because it'll be an experience for people. Make sure you're
Okay, so
listening with your
so
headphones.
during Friday it got really it was really slow, and the guy I was with, he had like yeah, it was a bit, it was not going as fast as he had hoped, I think.
Hmm.
And it was really it was, yeah, not really that busy. And then also, of course, it was half a day. It was a Friday, so not a lot of people were there. So on the second day, it was insane. It was insane. It was so freaking busy. It was absolutely insanity.
Hmm. Um, so just quick tangent on attendance, right? So when I started going to Otakon and it was getting a little larger and it was in a bigger facility, I was sort of the inconvenience of rolling in on Friday and getting my badge, and you'd be basically missing half the convention. It was just irritating. So I'd come in on Thursday
Mm-hmm.
day, and then I would come in, get my early arrival, and then over the course of time, something like Otakon or even some of these other conventions get so big that people are coming in on Wednesday, so they can pick up their early easy Thursday, then come in on the attendance of Friday. And so when the convention gets to a larger scale, people come in days before the actual event starts publicly. for them. And so you saying this means, okay, that tells me the size of the convention just by that that description of how things are working there.
It was there's also a problem that his stuff was still on their way from where he lives to Germany, so it took a while.
Yeah.
He sent his stuff with some friends of his.
Well, also keep in mind that maybe not so much with the equivalent of Artist Alley, but for the dealers, a lot of these local comic stores and stuff like that, they get to sort of refresh inventory or get rid of inventory or, get rid of excess in their physical stores, right? So that's why they go to these conventions.
Yeah, but I didn't see any of that because I was just in Artist Alley. That was
right,
just
yeah,
where
got
I
it.
was.
Yeah.
That's where I lived for 2.5 days.
Do they call it Artist Alley?
3 days.
What do they call it?
Yeah, they had
there?
an Artist Alley, yes.
Okay.
But it was more of like Artist Hall. So it's the
right,
entire
okay, Artist Hall
was just artists.
Yeah. I just use the phrasing of what Otakon calls it. And I don't know if they got that anywhere. That might have been an original creation in terms of naming from them. But a lot of conventions, because Otakon's in that early existence, Otakon has been a template, at least in the U.S., for a lot of other conventions. In respect to anime, not necessarily like PAX or whatever.
Yeah, there was one guy that was talking about, he came by and he was talking about how he was going to like different conventions to check out like stuff, like different and I was asking like, did you go to like to Otakon or something? And he's like, no, just going to the one in Germany. So.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Man, he came from Japan, so.
Okay.
I don't know.
So Otakon is sort of known in Japan, though their equivalency of a convention is mostly a industry level comic convention, and it's massive. I mean, you could fit many Otakons inside of just one of those. Like when they go massive, right? And I've only heard that because people from Otakon, the few people of Otakon make the one trip a year to have a small booth at one of those industry size conventions to drum up guests of honor and, make themselves known.
So on Dokomi this year was 170,000, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh no, 140,000.
Yeah. Like I said, massive by comparison. That's the description I've been told. So.
What? No, I was talking about Dokomi. I don't know how many.
You're talking about Dokomi. You said 100. So is that turnstile or is that unique?
Over 3 days.
Okay, 140. You said 1,000.
140,000.
Yeah, that's way bigger than Otakon. That seems a little suspect to me.
Nope. It was super busy.
Is it the only one that's like in that part of Europe?
No.
Interesting.
But I think it's the biggest.
Okay.
I think it's the biggest one in Germany. But it is one of the biggest in the area.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, that's massive compared to Otakon. How does the facility stand up by comparison?
What do you mean?
Like I told you said what, 330 square meters or whatever.
So 110,000 square meters.
So some conventions.
Let's see how much that is in freedom units.
So every convention reports their numbers differently, and so I'm not saying that they're doing this, but Otakon just talks about uniques, right? So they don't count me 3 times, right? They count me 1 time, right? So and they don't count staff until after the fact. So pre-reg means that there's 25,000 unique people who are coming.
So it's about 1.1 million square foot.
Okay. So the point of asking is sometimes some conventions report by turnstile. So they don't look that you bought a 1-day pass. They just look at the unique amount of membership or ticket sales or whatever it is, and then they multiply it by number of days.
I think the 140,000 is based on the amount of tickets they sold.
Okay.
But not from like people that walk in.
Okay.
I don't know what they. I can see probably what the last year's attendance
Well, my
was.
point is that sometimes they'll take the one number and they'll multiply it by 3, and they say that's our numbers, right? So when they say, "Oh, we have 90,000 people come through," and I'm like, "No, you probably had 30." And not all conventions are honest about it. The honest ones will tell you how they calculate things. The honest ones also usually just tell you the unique number, but
Are you are
140,000 is
you
still
are
pretty
you
impressive.
are you just saying that they're not honest?
No, I
Really?
don't know. I don't know how they're getting to 140,000. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't. They didn't say. It doesn't
Hmm.
say.
Yeah, no, I'm
But
just
it
bringing
was.
I'm
It is
bringing that into
huge.
the scope of conventions. I'm not. I'm
It
not.
is huge. It was
Yeah, yeah,
swamped. It's like
yeah.
they. I think probably next year they'll probably have a bigger. They'll use the other halls because I think the all the halls combined. I think they had like 5 or 6 halls,
Hmm.
and I think all the halls combined are like I think there's like 19, so I can
Hmm.
grow there. I think,
Oh, okay, good.
and I would definitely advise to grow because it was super busy. There were so many people.
Yeah,
There were like
we
thousands inside of one hall.
Otakon has lines, just getting into the convention center,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I will
I got
say
in through the artist alley. Uh,
special privilege
the
badge.
no the seller's badge.
Right,
So
right, yeah. So I mean, I as staff, I just get to walk in the front door at any time, right? Well, okay, with some exception when the actual convention center itself is closed. Um, it's something like 2 a.m. or something like that. I will say, by comparison, you used to feel the presence of people at the smaller convention center that we were there for over a decade. Um, and this place, it's like it slurps up people, right? When people are in where they should be in terms of programming, it can be very quiet in the halls. So it's not like you're swamped with like a million people walking around and then
oh, it was so freaking busy all the time.
yeah.
It's like as soon as the doors opened, like at 9:30, they started opening up the doors for like the VIPs or whatever for like other people in the convention center. You start seeing people trickle in, like especially they went especially quickly to like the artist alleys and stuff because they wanted to quickly get some stuff from the artists and whatever, and
Mm,
then they went on to do the other parts of the convention.
yeah.
So there was like an initial wave, and then there was like a wall of people, and there were so many cosplayers and so many furries, and there were so many different kinds of people over there. It was interesting, really interesting to
Mm-hmm.
see. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
you'll see that. My there is a I think they're like maybe 10,000 people or something. I think that's I don't know if I read that or that was described to me, but there's a convention that happens not far from where I am right now. Maybe within 10 miles, maybe within 15 minutes. And their focus is just games, like retro games and stuff like that. It's called Too Many Games. And so my father has been well retired for a long time, but one of the things he does is um, he does something on the state level that sort of puts him into a space of law enforcement at a state level. So he can get hired for doing security guard stuff, right? So, or like on the security team. And see, my father doesn't know what any of this stuff is, nothing at all. And he sends me pictures every once in a while. I was like, oh yeah, I'm working a gig, and he shows me a picture of somebody or some cosplayer or something. He's like, do you know what this is? And he got someone who had a monitor on their head. And it wasn't from Cyberpunk or anything like that. This is a guy who was cosplaying that guy who was dropping off old TVs and monitors on people's porches and was
Huh.
getting caught on their door cameras.
Okay, so we have a link in the fun stuff.
Right,
I
that
don't know
is
if you looked at that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that guy, but my father was like, "What is this, Alan?" And I was just like, because he sends me his picture, and it's like, oh, that looks like a Sony monitor that he got it out of CRT, and he's like, no, I asked him, it was a Packard Bell. So, I get these once a year. I get these weird things, and I've never been to this. Also, it was a 60-day for one day, or $130 or something for 3 days, and I'm like, I'm I know Bryce and Albert go, but like I'm not that interested. Especially not at like $120 or even $60 for a day.
no, I think it was really really inexpensive to go to Dokomi. It was like $80 or 70
Right.
something.
Yeah.
I got my ticket early in the year, and I could have sold it for the same amount of money
Yeah.
because you can sell it through their site.
Right. You can
There's
transfer it.
people reselling because I got a attendant booth
Hmm.
booth badge. So, yep.
I mean, look, if you wanna come Otakon, let's say next year, I can get you a comp code, and so you don't have to worry about the badge. But if you're coming as
Nah,
an artist alley vendor, you sort of pay your
I don't
cost to
think that
pay.
me coming as an artist alley vendor in the U.S. is a good idea.
I mean, you could ship the boxes to me, and then they would go with me in the car,
Yeah.
down on trip.
Yeah. Do they do
Um,
18 plus at Otakon? As you
so
know?
I don't know if they have like a sectioned off carded area
Because
for.
they have for Dokomi they had you have to have
Oh yeah,
like
we
a
definitely have like the wristband and 18 plus
yeah
programming and stuff like that, and I think they do put that on the badges, but they also for the events that like are sort of the after dark, the that kind of stuff. Usually, our concerts or events they get like wristbands like prior to the event. You have to go
yeah
out of your way for. Um, to that point, in the case of Artist Alley, or at least yeah, I think it's in Artist Alley now. I don't think they keep it in the dealer's room. They used to have a 18 plus art show auction, right? Where
mm,
that kind of art that could be auctioned off goes up in a carded area or badge check area. I don't know if they have something that's just for an artist alley like that. I don't know enough about Otacon's experience of with that. How that's set up. I can't imagine it wouldn't be that would be the case because they want to try to keep the family friendly stuff and the non family friendly stuff separated. They don't want 10-year-olds walking and go, "Hey, mommy, mommy, can I have this thing with the tentacles?"
yeah. I was actually surprised how fast my book went. It's
Oh,
like
good.
yeah
So this is a positive for you, I guess. This
yeah
is a
yeah
place.
yeah
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I brought a few and like I sold them at like cost, so I didn't make any money on them. I just got the money back, which is fine,
Well, but
fine by
that
me.
also, if you have the right kind of advertisement back to your website, back to your Gumroad, whatever it is that you do your primary sales on, that can encourage future sales.
Yeah, but even there, I don't make a lot of money on it, so I don't actually make any money on it. It's like
Okay.
100% negative.
Well, I mean, that if the sales throughput goes up higher, that you can on the next book bump it up a little bit so you can actually make
Mm,
some money. But you
yeah,
got to have a market share typically, right, before that can happen.
just doing it for the fun of it
Mm-hmm.
and the stress.
I saw a snippet from Mr. Beast where he was talking about no, again he has a market, but he had said like he made some comment about having sales like in the Walmarts or the Targets or whatever it is of his like he's got chocolate now and some other things going on where they just decided to make chocolate or make I don't know burgers or whatever, right? And so they have something where they made enough sales that they can justify partnerships with Walmart and Target in the U.S. and have literally quantities of like things slotted inside those stores, and they still make 6 million a quarter or something like that in profit. And so, as an individual, as a known entity, he can't make money until he has a market, right? So you can be popular on TikTok, but until you have a proven market that will buy stuff from you at a small percent, like it doesn't turn its tail into being profitable.
Well, it was a success. Let's just keep it at that.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll do it again.
Maybe. It was very intense. At like Saturday evening, I was kaput. I was like, I was done. I was so done. And I was like, yeah, I need to go back to the hotel and sleep. It was like, we were past 8, and I was like, okay, I need to.
So were you just selling your stuff, or were you also helping your friends?
No, I was helping my friend sell his stuff.
Got it.
So, and there were two of my books were there, and it was like just if somebody wanted to get more of the interesting stuff, he would like, oh look, this is the person that's helping me. Who's this art book out?
Okay. So he would sort of encourage people to take interest, and then that's how you made sales.
Yeah, and then suddenly somebody bought one, and then somebody else bought the next one,
and without any organically, it just started to happen more and more.
Yeah. Like the first day was more of a push, and then the second day, like on the first day I sold like 2, I think. And the second day they were all gone except for one, which is my old book. There's one of my old book left. And
well, like I said, if you want to figure out something for Otakon, here's the problem though. The second those things open up, like you gotta quick steps. So basically, on the Sunday of Otakon ending, go check the website.
Yeah, I'm not going to Otakon to sell stuff. It's just too far away.
Well, like I said, you could ship a box.
It's $1,200 just for the
flight.
Just for the airplane.
Yeah.
So it's $1,200 for the flight, and then it's hotel, which is going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
Because it's convention time.
Mm-hmm.
Then the booth, the merchandise. It's like it's like a 6-7K total.
What a lot of people do is they to ensure that they get now the problem is you at the room rates, that's a whole different story, but what a lot of people would do is they would go reserve roughly the expected weekends that they think that the convention is going to happen before, like, Otakon gets announced, and they just cancel those reservations well in advance. And then what they do is they get their hotel stuff, and then, it's always going to be a cheaper rate through hotel stuff, like the hotel, the convention block rates or whatever it is. But that's kind of what the trick was. Now, I don't know how long people wait, but there's a certain reserved room, for the convention when they're booking that the hotels block off. So usually there's a guaranteed set of rooms in the area for up to 30,000-40,000 people if you can get on the block rates. So
yeah, I think the train ride was like €120 total. My hotel was about 600, and the booth, I don't know exactly what the booth was in cost, but it was not super expensive, like maybe 300.
Oh yeah. I would expect the Otakon stuff would probably be more than that, but I don't know.
But it's in euros, so.
Right. Yeah, I understand. So
yeah,
I always put a multiplier on that, at least 1.5 or something. And you'll say, no, it's 1.2, and I'm like, yeah, but if I do the 1.5, then it's an easy coverage.
Well, I remember when the euro was $1.6. That was an amazing time.
Yeah.
It was an amazing time to go to the US because you could buy a lot of shit.
And you did.
And I did. I bought a Zoom H4, I think.
Oh yeah, but you fried that.
Yeah, I fried it. Because I
Was
put
it
a converter
H2?
on the power supply. And maybe it was an H2, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they had the four. They went from 2 to 6, I think. They might have a 4 now.
There was an
Uh,
H4. I have an H4n.
oh,
I have an
so I got
H4n.
it. Yeah, I have an H6N, I
I
think.
had an H2, and then I got home, and then
Yeah,
I tried.
you're right. I
Then I was
had
like,
an
oh, let
H4.
me just put an adapter on it to, but it wasn't the switching
Right,
power
because you
supply
bought it.
to.
You bought it near me. You bought it at the Sam Ash near me.
Yeah,
That's
but
what it
like
was. Yeah.
most power supplies are like switching between 220
Mm-hmm.
and 110.
So you can buy the international one from Zoom, I'm
Oh
sure.
no, the Zoom got wrecked. It was like it
Did you buy the
it
international, or did
released
you
a.
just put a travel adapter on?
I put a travel adapter on.
Right. Yeah, you can buy like the power brick from Zoom that has the
Yeah, I
the correct
understand
thing.
now. Yes,
Yeah.
that doesn't
Four,
help me much.
I know. $400 mistake.
Yeah,
I mean, you
it
didn't use
released the
them.
magic smoke, and I was like, okay,
Yeah, you
that was
didn't use
dumb.
them much for a while anyway. So it wasn't until you bought something else later.
Yeah, I got the L8 now, and I had
Yeah,
the H4n before.
I think I started with the H2, and then I bought the H4, and I think the H2 died on me. Yeah, and then I bought the H4, and then I went into the F4, um, and then eventually I bought this board, but that didn't come fast. That I don't know. Over 18 years, I bought a lot of equipment. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think I bought this board. Actually, I don't want to. I don't want to cast an expiration date of years because if this board dies, I can't afford anything right now. I mean, I could get. I'd probably get by
I'll
with
send you
that.
more H4n.
No, I don't know.
That's my backup.
I mean, I have the old 4 and the 6, but this is like a board plus a recorder. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I have the equipment. I can swing something again, if I have to, but it's not the preference. This is a great board, great
So
situation.
you're at Otakon again this year?
Yeah, I'm going to continue along the film stuff. And again, it just sort of becomes this discovery of what and how, because my lessons that I learned in the last several years is I can't get the important people of note to sit down with me and stay still when they're at an event. And unless I travel like, hundreds of miles a year, even then, just to get them throughout the year is difficult. So I've sort of given up on those efforts unless they're like at Matt Pison's house for the weekend or something. I'm not traveling 400 miles round trip to go do a 1 hour thing with somebody.
Yeah.
And what I learned last year is I took my 3-axis camera plus my cell phone, and my Rode mics, though, um, they they weren't so reliable. I didn't pull out the receiver to see if I was getting signal. When I thought they were on, they weren't on. They were on mute or something, some stupid thing in the way the long press works with the little Rode goes, wireless goes.
Oh no.
Um, so I didn't get the audio. I got the audio from my camera, basically. And I was hoping to, if I could get the combination of them getting turned on, knowing their mic is recording locally, and I could just use that plus my cell phone. And I can get pretty good coverage of things by following some people. And I just happen to follow the con chair and the president.
So you're
Um,
just you're doing the you're not doing any convention stuff itself. You're just doing like
oh
you're
yeah,
doing
yeah,
video
yeah.
stuff.
No, I don't. I bet the likelihood of me going down to the dealer's room or artist alley, no. Like I have to look at every opportunity and every moment that I'm present as an opportunity to capture an interview or get some B stuff. And what I realize is once I get the kind of stuff of following someone a little bit who lets me follow them first thing, and something interesting is happening, and sort of getting some footage of that as it's happening, that gives me proper leverage, conversation, and reason to get them sit in and talk to me for a half hour about what was going on in their recollection, so then I can put something together that's meaningful that goes into the context of a film.
Okay, and are you anywhere near completion on this, or are
I,
you
I, I just I alone as one person, I'm really the only one who's filming anything. So getting anyone who's interested to kind of help out is sort of kind of hit or miss, right? Staff are like, yeah, I want to help out, and then you contact them throughout the year, and they're like not coming, or they don't. It's like crickets. So I had one guy who helped me start this, and he does this professionally. But since COVID, he got a kid, and now he's playing daddy, and any free time is like, and then because of COVID, he was like, I'm not going anywhere for a while. Into the world other than what's for work.
Yeah, you don't want to risk anything with your kid.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't check in with him this year, but he's like, when you want me to color grade and help with edits, he's like, I'm all there for that. So don't get me wrong, I probably
How big is your storage usage now?
What do you mean?
For footage you have?
Well, I was just going to tell you, I think definitely somewhere probably near 20 hours of interview footage.
Yeah, but how much storage?
Oh, it's all spread on these. I see 3 big external drives. That's my storage. There's no NAS here, dude. I don't have $5,000 to put a real nice reasonable size NAS together.
You can get
a Synology of 6 slots is gonna cost me $1,200.
Why would you need? You just need one with 2, and put it in RAID.
Yeah, and how many terabytes is that gonna get me?
Let's say I think the biggest ones are like 14 terabytes.
14 terabytes, really?
Drives, yeah.
Okay, so you put 2 together, which means that after RAID, it's only 12 terabytes after formatting and all that stuff. So how much is that going to put my outlay? So that's what? Okay, $800 for the Synology.
So there's a 12 terabyte Iron Wolf,
right? Which is 10.
You want to get one of those because they're specifically for like.
You got to get 2. Yeah.
You got to get 2, so they're $299 a piece.
Okay, so that's $600.
Yeah, so you get one of the normal NASs.
Okay. And one of the normal NAS is going to be what, $600?
$200, $300.
Nah, a good one like a Synology. Synology. Yeah. They come that low now?
Yep.
Because they used to be, if you wanted to get 4, it was like $1,200 and some change.
So the DS220 is €319.
Okay, so when I looked at that stuff in the past, it was still too expensive for something small. And then even then, 10 terabytes? I mean, honestly, I probably have about maybe somewhere around 8 terabytes worth of footage. Current day.
Yeah, but the problem is as soon as one of your disks has an accident, that data is gone.
Yeah, I get that. That's why I have backups of the backups.
Uh-huh.
It was cheaper for me to do that $100 a pop. Do
you have are you working on SSD or are you working on disks?
If I'm going to edit something, I'll move it to like an SSD, one of the T5s or something like that, and edit off that, or move it into the internal on the which is an SSD on the in the system, and then move it back, and then move it across multiple drives. Make copies. That was cheaper than me having money I didn't have to spend. I mean, all the money I saved, I put into a house. Now that I bought the house, my liquidity sitting around, you don't just have 100K sitting around. Yeah. So, and what I've been doing is now apparently Premiere has transcription stuff. Now they've wired in a whole bunch of AI over the last few years. They have a bunch of transcription stuff. So I haven't really gone back to the assemblies and run the transcriptions on it to get people do it for captions, but you can take that transcription, and I was making manual notes of interest, right? So if I have a transcription, auto transcription, I can go look at that, and then that will be helpful. Again, I'm the only one working on it. Really, that's the problem, and I don't have enough. I don't have enough material yet to weave together something that's concrete, right? I can tell everyone's origin. Great, they become clips. That's not a film, you know. And the idea of like, oh, can you do this in a year is laughable because it takes people 5-10 years. I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm just saying is like I alone as one person, one cameraman, one interviewer, one editor. It's a lot as one individual. So, and don't get me wrong, Otakon has other. They have a group of people that deal with video, but they deal with video at event. They're very not focused on long-term
More
stuff.
like the AMV competition and stuff like that.
No, that's a whole different group. That group takes care of those entries and deals with content for that, and there's a whole dedicated room for the whole convention that's for that.
Is there stuff being streamed there?
I don't know. Oh, no, that is true. We do. Since COVID, they pushed through the effort of having some online presence. So they definitely have that happen. When did they do that? Last year? Did they do some stuff prior? They definitely did. There was one year I didn't go. We definitely had a year where we had no in-person event. So during that 2020, I helped online because we didn't have an in-person event. But in 21, so I went last year, so that was 22. So in 21, the convention happened. It came back to a physical event. And I didn't go, and I helped with the online presence as well on that. So, yes. And I think through the course of the convention, they do. I know No Kid Hungry had a live event, and I had friends who helped produce that. So that was happening live throughout the course of the event last year as well.
Mm.
So, but it's like different stuff. It's not necessarily streaming all the workshops or things like that, right? And certainly not the contest online, that kind of stuff, right? You want to see the AMV contest, you got to be, if you want to go to the masquerade, you got to go to the masquerade. I don't know that they're doing live streams of that.
Okay. Well, do they have like power at the booths for the artist outlet,
Oh, I would think so.
I
mean, they do in the dealer's room.
Yeah.
This is like professional conference room, so there's power bricks and stuff laid out. That's why you can't just like say on Friday or Thursday night, I want to become an artist out. No. Everything has to be planned out for the booths and assignments and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think like most of these people didn't have didn't get power for it, so everybody was battery powered. So yeah,
that's the ding that says the storm is coming.
That's the ding that hey, you should have been doing the Polymaticast.
Oh, we are. 2 hours later.
1 hour later. Yeah, almost 1 hour later.
Yeah, about 1 hour later. Yeah. Well, we got started early. Normally, we're just talking up this point. Therapy session.
Is there anything else I want to talk about Dokomi? It was interesting. There were a lot of cosplayers there.
Mm-hmm. Anything good? Anything you noticed?
I don't know. Yeah, it was all done really well. There were a lot of people that were integrating like electronics into their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you see that a lot of that.
There were a lot of furries with glowing eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah, again, to that conversation, my father does not know what cosplay is, and he is just sort of like amused by it all. I remember, I don't know, years past, again, same conference. He sends me a picture of some like attractive lady in her cosplay, and my father's just asking questions like, "What is this? Why are you dressed up?" Like he's not like, "Why are you dressed up that way?" He's just like inquisitive in general because he has no idea. It doesn't matter how many times you explain it to him. It's the same questions every year. He doesn't. It's not of his interest, so he doesn't care. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go through the fun stuff?
Sure. Let's go through
Yeah.
before you lose power in your apartment building.
Well, I think the storm just passed, so
Yeah, I think so. I think we're good. All right. So the first one I got is in this economy. I thought it was funny. I don't really know who the YouTuber is, but I thought it was funny. I saw it, and it went to a TikTok, and I found the YouTube for it. Polymatic.link/1AZ.
Okay.
Oh, I guess we're going down my line. That's how you
Yeah,
set it
yeah,
up.
I didn't.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't order them.
Okay, so this is I follow this YouTuber. I've been following her for years. I'm sure I've shown or shared her videos in the past. But yeah, so she did something where this is a little bit of like a museum. No one's actively living there, but it talks about a guy long ago who came out to California and kind of got he bought a bad property. So somehow he figured out how to turn his property that he could barely plant anything in because he bought mostly clay land instead of that you can't plant anything in. He thought he was buying an orchard, and he got screwed over and didn't know that, and so he over time figured out how to turn his property into an orchard, and dig underground and create basically 10 acres worth of sort of tunnels and caves, and made his own little village across his property. So polymatic.link/1B0. I thought it was interesting. Okay, so moving on to the next one. This one is really unique to Philly. So within the last time we talked, what happened is someone was driving off an off-ramp, and the off-ramp swings down from the side of a major road that goes from top to bottom of the U.S., and it goes sort of, there's like a bridge that this main road goes over, and this sort of off-ramp sort of goes underneath that bridge to sort of connect to local roads. So what happened is a tanker that was carrying gasoline, something happened, and it basically hit the side of underneath the bridge. There was an accident, and that did cause it to flip, have an explosion, and it basically scorched one side of this bridge. It goes over that over the overramp, a little overpass, and so it basically, the whole bridge was catching on fire. And so there was some stuff on TikTok. At least I'm getting fed the local Philly stuff, and I saw it was like the bridge is on fire on the other side, and this turned into them turning around in 12 days and basically demolishing that one section of the bridge and rebuilding just the center part of it. So this was 2 lanes on each side in going different directions. And this is just a clip video that's on TikTok, polymatic.link/1B1. But what's interesting about it, there's a little more story, but just for the sake of time, I'm not going to talk about those details. But what's interesting about it is they in 12 days, they got it. They basically built a middle bridge for, like 2 lanes from each direction instead of 4 lanes from each direction. Sorry. I lied. It wasn't a 4-lane bridge. It was 8-lane. Either way, they were able to create like 6 lanes, actually. Very skinny, roads. But they filled up the middle of this area with this aggregate. And this aggregate is made out of recycled beer bottles and gravel mixed together. And apparently this stuff's like fireproof, and it's really sturdy. So inside of 12 days, in less than 2 weeks, they rebuilt this bridge out of nowhere. and then they're going to work on the other sides, and then they're going to take down the temporary part, and they're going to make a whole new thing. So I just thought this was interesting, and it happened within the last month, and it was a note literally someone put up a live Twitch stream because the Pennsylvania state had a live camera on the construction 24/7 up and everything, and so they turned it into this sort of interactive live stream. It was really interesting. Not Pennsylvania, this other independent Twitch streamer who I happen to know.
There was so on the 13th this happened?
June? It happened somewhere in June, yeah.
Yeah, so 13th of June. Because I sent you a message about it.
Did you send me the message?
Yes.
Oh, because I'm a part of a local Philly Discord. We were all over this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so this is just like a highlight reel. Someone took basically drone footage on their own. They put together a little thing with rocky music. Anyhow, that's Polymatic link 1B1. All right, so moving on. Making eyeglass frames out of coffee grounds.
I think I've seen this one before.
I
think we might have linked it before.
It's possible. I had it in my list. I did not go back and check. But anyhow, I thought it was interesting. Or maybe I thought it was interesting again. I don't know. Polymatic.link /1B3. I guess I got to go back and look at our previous posts. So maybe I'm over posting. And the last
Making
one,
eyeglass frames out of coffee. I don't think you said what it actually was.
out of coffee grounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last one. This is just an artist who's sort of independent. She does put out her own music, but every once in a while she has a good cover. She really does not have a YouTube presence, which is sad. I wish she did this kind of stuff a little more often. But here's a cover to one of my favorite songs from that album. I think it was the Bends from Radiohead, High and Dry. Polymatic.link /1B4, and this is by Kelly Rose. So yeah, okay. There's all my links.
Okay, next one, DIY cyberpunk helmet. Somebody made a TV head, like a FLCL style guy.
Yes, I don't play Cyberpunk. Is this an actual character in?
No, it's like I think it's a reference to FLCL.
Got it. So it's not to the game Cyberpunk.
I think I think they're just doing
like
putting a keyword in there.
If you take away the game ever existed, the reference to Cyberpunk makes sense on its own. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Anyway, Polymatic link /1B5 for that one.
Yeah.
I have a link to Dokomi. Polymatic link /1B6. Balls of Thermite. Polymatic link /1B7. You should probably go check that one out.
I did, yeah.
Okay, making hundreds of plastic figures, steady crafting. He recently was doing a lot of making small figurines using injection molding, and he's getting pretty proficient at it, and he's making a lot of them. So
this is like
/1B8.
I feel like you have shared this guy before. I don't know. Yeah. Obviously not this video. Because my comment in my head is like, I feel like I've made this comment before, which is like, he's like ASMR for like crafters or something.
I can see that.
And craft it's crafting. There's no T, it is crafting in his T. So
he's he has like a puppet avatar.
Oh, does he really? Okay. Yeah. So I never followed
linked
the
him
guy.
Before. Yeah. Definitely check out his channel.
Yeah.
Very, very fun.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's like a Dusseldorf for crafts.
Right. But you could put it on the background and fall asleep to it.
Well, same thing with Dusseldorf. Yeah, definitely.
And you can be bored by him. Sure, that's a possibility.
It's like the perfect brain turn off video for me.
Oh yeah, right. There's something interesting about
if I'm being stressed or something like that, or is like I can't get to sleep, I just turn this on. I'm like out in 2 minutes.
Right. Tony's a little funny though. So like
but that's good. That's good. But he doesn't have anything like offensive um, like there's electronics guys out there, like EV blog guy.
Okay.
He has like this shrill voice, and you just can't you can't fall asleep to that.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Like Tony is like not offensive in
Right.
an audio sense.
There's nothing about his what he produces that, Frank Howarth. I like his stuff, but I have to not be tired because his voice is so just kind of deadpan and it's very quiet. And while there's some creativity going on, he's always. And it's just like you could
falling asleep now.
Yeah, you could just sort of fall asleep to just listening to him if you're not, engaged in what is going on. Yeah. Anyhow, off on a topic.
Okay, so next one is Dyson powered RC plane. Polymatic /1B9.
Yeah. It just reminds you that while Dyson has, it seems like it's overpriced. Their stuff is very well engineered. Like there's actual like R&D that goes into their engineering, and so you get a quality of product from them. I mean, it's twice as much as anything else on the market, but No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's it. 1 hour, 15 minutes. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to ask.
It may, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really there anyways, so it might be on Threads now. So
don't use Threads. Threads is like a privacy nightmare.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm aware.
Oh yeah, but like there's a reason it's not in Europe yet because it's not allowed. The shit they do is not allowed.
So is Instagram. It's all based on Instagram, basically, on the back end.
Anyway, if you want to find Alan, you go to Polymatic./Alan. If you want to find me, Polymatic./John. For feedback, you reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. Our Twitter is the Polymatic. Our website is Polymatic.media. And I hope you tune in next time.